The America's Sapient Wellspring, a rectification of the Western Hemisphere, a formal research agenda, Alva Milton Hicks, naturalist. Wake up to a new old world. The question. Author Alva Milton Hicks artfully demonstrates that the human story in the Western Hemisphere is far older, far richer, and far more consequential than the academic consensus has been willing to acknowledge. Beginning in 1984, he pursued this idea with systematic academic rigor, in concert with leading authorities, synthesizing archaeological, genetic, and linguistic evidence, and refining a thesis that has only grown more defensible as the sciences have caught up to it. The result is a formal research agenda that challenges Clovis first, and with it, human evolutionary models at their foundations. Alva asks whether the Americas represent not a terminus of human migration, but rather one of its most consequential paleoanthropological origins. The thesis. For decades, the Clovis first model has served as the cornerstone of New World prehistory, asserting that the first humans entered the Americas roughly 13,000 years ago via the Bering Land Bridge. It is a tidy story. It is also increasingly indefensible. This work presents a secure, synthesized thesis, arguing, on paleontological grounds, that anatomically sapient humans inhabited the Western Hemisphere far earlier, that migration patterns were more complex and bidirectional, and that Native American oral traditions constitute primary historical testimony. His book is offered as a catalyst, a rigorous, historically documented autochthonous starting point that establishes the broader multidisciplinary scientific reckoning this evidence demands. The evidence. Hicks revisits the genetic modeling of the late Luca Cavalli Sforza, the late Reichward, and Professor Emeritus Alan Templeton of Washington University, all of whom have corresponded positively with the author, to illuminate statistical analyses of population genetic systems and directional migration patterns across the Bering Strait. Conventional models have, since 1912, set aside an autochthonous origin, having considered alone only a human settlement of the Americas. Recently discovered and widely accepted white sands footprints of New Mexico, dated to 21,000–23,000 YBP, place anatomically modern humans in North America at the height of the last glacial maximum. The Cerruti Mastodon site pushes the human horizon past 130,000 years. Meadowcroft Rock Shelter, excavated by James Adavazio, provides stratified evidence of pre-Clovis occupation, while Monte Verde I, dated to 33,000 YBP in Chile, and Pendejo Cave in New Mexico, dating to 65,000 YBP, anchor a mid-Pleistocene presence across hemispheric breadth. Hicks notes that these early finds push back the limits of sapient arrival in the Eastern Hemisphere, beginning there around 50,000 years ago. The implications do not merely challenge the Clovis threshold, they dissolve it. This book provides a long-awaited theory to rectify the basal archaeological significance of a reduced Paleolithic period for Paleo-American contexts. Why it matters? The Clovis first paradigm is not a neutral hypothesis. It is a framework shaped by a Eurocentric imagination of human history that casts the Americas as a late-arriving periphery rather than a deep note in the human story. Indigenous communities across the hemisphere have never accepted the premise that their ancestors arrived as recent immigrants. Mainstream archaeology is only now catching up to what oral traditions have preserved over millennia. The implications extend into evolutionary biology, paleoanthropology, linguistics, and the ethics of how science listens to non-Western knowledge. The America's sapient wellspring is not contrarianism. It is a call for the field to follow its own evidence, with integrity and courage, wherever that evidence leads. About the author, Alva Milton Hicks is a naturalist, trained not by institutions, but by the land, by direct relationship with traditional Native American practitioners, and by 50 years of disciplined independent scholarship. He is candid about being self-educated. He is equally candid that his conclusions have been tested through meaningful correspondence with some of the most distinguished figures in archaeology, genetics, and linguistic prehistory, including Louis Binford, Luca Cavalli Sforza, Alan Templeton, Tom Dillahay, James Adavazio, and Lyle Campbell. He spent decades living on his remote homestead in the heart of the Los Padres National Forest, operating a horse stable as a licensed backcountry guide, piping water from the mountain, living among Native Americans, and visiting traditional communities, and holding ceremonies without compensation because integrity demanded it. His grandfather, before him, brought water to the village of Palm Springs, a story preserved in Palm Springs Life, December 2025, a lineage of practical engagement with the natural world that shaped the grandson's scholarly instincts. Research strategy. His research earned him an invitation to serve as assistant editor of the journal Mother Tongue, Association for the Study of Language in Prehistory, and his early findings were posted on its weblog in the late 1990s. His historical analysis of migration from the Americas has been published in Human Biology, and his many insightful perspectives are accessible at academia. ED. Hicks has been in direct contact with 3 prominent disciplinarians in anthropology, all of whom once served as editors-in-chief of the Association of Physical Anthropology. They include Professor Philip Walker, Emoka Sathmary, and most recently, Matt Cartmill. Matt reminds him of what he has already been told and has been institutionalized by the well-intentioned editors mentioned. Dear Mr. Hicks, I'm afraid that there is overwhelming evidence that human beings originated in Africa through evolution from African ape-like ancestors. What would they have originated from in the Western Hemisphere? Sincerely, Matt Cartmill. Personal email EM 2026. Answer: higher primates are the first line of human descent anywhere. Australia is a marsupial continent, so logic dictates. That being said, in some form or another over the years, it has not left me undaunted. It is worth asking ourselves whether we are any closer to solving the question of our origins than we were a century ago. Willamette and Clark, 1995. Rather, it confirms that what we know is not all there is, and perhaps why you should read his book, The American Sapient Wellspring, Hicks, 2026. Reserved qualifications. As a bona fide naturalist, Hicks was the principal author of the California Condor Recovery Program submission of the San Rafael Wilderness Area release site criteria accessed in the Library of Congress. He provisioned a 4-day backcountry excursion with fellow horsepacker, the late Tony Alvis, into the San Rafael Wilderness in 1986, where, at the base of the Condor Sanctuary, 10 biologists finalized the decision to throw a pending lawsuit into the fire, leading to an agreement to capture the last surviving wild population of California condors. A turning point that may have helped save the species. He did not attend as a credentialed biologist. He attended as a naturalist the wilderness trusted. Hicks has now consolidated his 50-year efforts to rectify a long-overdue human origins starting point, the Western Hemisphere, set aside over 100 years ago, when, alone, a peopling of the New World became the standard by which all Paleo-American studies would be measured. W. Holmes, 1910. The America's Sapient Wellspring is available now on Amazon and through Kindle Direct Publishing. Podcast hosts, journalists, and academic colleagues are invited to engage directly with this research agenda. For speaking inquiries, interviews, and scholarly correspondence, contact the author at alvahicks@gmail.com, or 8 podcasts and YouTube videos can be accessed at Global Eureka Moment. Welcome to the new old world.